operated in very unconventional manners. The name has practically been eradicated from the history books.
Why?
I met General WerBell when I was in charge of a secret testing area for the United States Army. A short time after I arrived with the Vietnamese Airborne, General WerBell arrived. And we bumped into each other when he came out to the Vietnamese Airborne. We were the only combat unit, the American unit, in and around Saigon, and we had our camouflage fatigues and red berets. And essentially, to gain assignment to the Vietnamese Airborne was a real plum in your career. However, I must say that during this time, Mitch was a major general. He was given the rank of a major general in the United States Army. And I don't think anybody ever really knew what his true rank or station in life was.
Mitch is an expert on clandestine operations. He's an expert on weapons, particularly on special types of weapons, silencers and so forth. He has the respect of the Special Forces people that have worked with him in these operations. He has an ability to bring all of this together when it is needed.
General WerBell was well known to all people as having been a very successful OSS agent in World War II. And he and General John Singlaub were fellow young officers and did in fact jump behind Japanese lines throughout the Chinese, India and Burma theater of World War II. General WerBell was able to continue his exploits around the world, and especially during the time that he and I were together in Asia, General WerBell enjoyed the rank of a major general. I know for a fact that his ID card gave the rank of major general, and without question, he had the full approval of the highest echelons of our government. And we must remember that all his old buddies in the OSS were now at the very top of the CIA, and Mitch WerBell knew personal anecdotes about all of the very top, the real hardcore members of the OSS who went on to become hardcore members of the CIA. Mitch WerBell operated without question with their approval. And I've been to various countries with Mitch WerBell, and I know that he was received without question with elements of the CIA present everywhere, and he was given the highest honors and treated as a visiting prince would be treated. He was the #1 man in all our meetings. We always brought in whatever we wanted to bring in weaponry and munition. No one ever said a word, no issue with anything that General WerBell did or said.
I would say that in every place where Mitch has operated, it's either been as a contract employee or with the knowledge of the local CIA, even if they couldn't officially support it.
He was operating, assisting the CIA in our attempts to put down the communist insurrection in Southeast Asia. I might add, he was one of the few effective forces.
Something happening dangerous to Larry Flynt, and I decided nothing more dangerous can happen to him, so I'm going to tell you what's happening right now. But here he's publishing this, and he's writing, Kissinger is in complete control. He has gone mad and must be stopped. Bush and Kissinger plan to assassinate Reagan. CIA killed Jessica Savage and Bishop in Grenada. In the meanwhile, Mitchell WerBell moved into his home. And into his house walks Mr. CIA, probably with more noxy than George Bush ever had. He does all the dirty work for Bush. This man knows every intelligence operation going on in the world today. He is Mr. World. Everything I'm saying about the man is in public domain. It's in published books. So I'm not talking against them. I'm just telling you who the house guests are. He trains down in Georgia, the paramilitary group, and in Texas, and works with, as I say, with the silencer agency head. Now, there was an obituary in the newspaper, the San Jose Mercury. I take a lot of papers, and this goes to the Larry Flynt story. David Emery called me, said, look at your San Jose Mercury. Mitchell WerBell III, soldier of fortune, died. If any of you have my broadcast of the last 3 or 4 weeks, particularly broadcast 624, where I said, how would you like to have these people for dinner? I talked about house guests that moved in on Larry Flynt, Gordon Novell, and Mitchell WerBell, and gave you a little biography of those men. Now, Mitchell WerBell, the news story came out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Sure, he was old. Sure, he drank a lot. They described him as a soldier of fortune, a former international arms dealer, one-time operator of a counter-terrorist training school. Well, his son still operates it. It's still going. He's like Sven Kramer. The apple falls right next to that tree. WerBell's anti-communist activity over the years was linked frequently with the CIA. You better believe it. The silencers and the wiping out of individuals and entire nations. I mean, what chance did Larry Flynt have when you have this kind of guest around you? He served as an agent from the U.S. Office of Strategic Services, OSS, and of course he worked with the entire Galen Nazi operation. The World War II forerunner of the CIA. He was in the OSS, he was in the CIA. Most recently, WerBell was a security advisor for Hustler's magazine publisher, Larry Flynt. Larry Flynt ended up in a federal hospital, called crazy. He's not crazy. He's been given some drugs that have altered his personality. He wasn't doing these things before WerBell moved in the house, but WerBell is dead.